We can't ever really know what's going on. What's going on?
Appearances can be deceptive. Jesus, Tom, I was just speculating about a hypothesis. I know I don't know how.
Uncertainty. That is appropriate for matters of this world.
There, we're in a tight spot.
Hello, welcome to Framework for our physician-mandated 6-month follow-up to the Coen-Oscopy. That's what you're supposed to do. I am Al Schwartz. With me, as usual, is John Bernard.
Good morning to y'all. Thanks for coming in. Listen to more Coen Brothers talk.
Yeah, we're wrapping this up, our addendum series. We look at all the directors we've done and the influences or knockoffs or imitators that they have inspired. And I mean, there is a particular type of movie that is considered a Coen Brothers movie. But what this, I guess, crystallizes for me is how much in the popular consensus Fargo is considered the ultimate Coen Brothers movie, because that's the one that people are drafting. It's not, people aren't like, oh, this is a Coen Brothers knockoff, meaning that it's like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Well, there aren't a lot of movies like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
True.
There kind of are movies like Fargo, even as it felt very original at the time. I find it a lot easier to point to Fargo-esque films. And part of that is, it's drafting on the same kind of 90s crime, independent art scene, thing that Pulp Fiction and the Tarantino ripoffs were doing. There's similar ground there.
Yes, it's quirkier. Tarantino 90s crime is it's similar, idiosyncratic, but it's concerned with cool in a way that Coen Brothers stuff is not. Coens are about the quirk, not the cool.
Right.
I guess what I would quote with having done all this stuff is that for me now, I look at A Serious Man as sort of the ultimate Coen Brothers movie, the purest Coen Brothers movie. And Fargo, like I said, is sort of like, it's well known, but it does seem like them indulging in trends of 90s crime stuff a little bit to me.
Or codifying them, perhaps. I mean,
right.
They were right there.
Yeah, I would talk about this in the Fargo episode. I think that for me, Fargo was very much marketed to me as upon release as a Pulp Fiction companion piece.
Right, you could get the snow globe when you bought it on VHS with the wood chipper in it, shit like that. Mm-hmm.
But it's also arguable that Fargo, a far more influential movie than A Serious Man.
Of course.
There's not knockoffs of it as much. Well, I'll get into that later if there are companion pieces to A Serious Man that I could name. But and especially the cable show that's titled Fargo and is sort of the kind of it's riffing on Fargo far and away most directly, but also kind of acting as an omnibus of all Coen homages that they can cobble together.
Yeah, I mean, that really alters the thing because it really sort of sets in stone a list of Coen tropes and Coen things that you can recognize, and I mean, it's all reference there. You'll get specific references to shot sequences and things like that are now explicitly like, oh, it's a Coen thing, in a way they might not have been before, or maybe they would have been. I don't know. You see something inspired by the opening credits of Raising Arizona, it's probably gonna, that's the sort of movie we're talking about today.
Yeah, but we're also going to talk about late 90s through the early 2000s offbeat crime movies, right?
I don't have a lot of modern. Really modern stuff on my list here. I got to be honest with you, man. I struggled here in a way I hadn't with, I think, any of the other ones, which surprised me because there's so many, things you can point at as Coenisms.
You struggled to just come up with a list of titles or to get through them?
No, I enjoyed most of what I watched, but I watched a number of films where I finished it and I was like, can I actually call that a Coen-inspired film? I don't know, because the genre or subgenre of stupid people committing crimes is much larger than the Coen brothers, or just crime comedies with goofy criminals, or any sort of noir-inspired Southwestern kind of sexual thrillers. Any of this stuff, it just doesn't. It doesn't have to be inspired by Coens to hit a lot of the same boxes. So I had a hard time. Like I watched a number of movies that I was like, having put the time in, I actually wouldn't say that qualifies. So shit, I just wasted my time for this a little bit.
What's one that you decided after the fact didn't actually fit the bill?
Quick Change, the Bill Murray film,
okay.
a Bill Murray directed crime comedy about bank robbers. He dresses up as a clown and robs a bank. And then him and Gina Davis and Randy Quaid spend the majority of the film just trying to escape New York City. It's like from, the 90s, mid-90s. It has a lot of the same things that you like on paper you can say, like, well, it has this like the Coens. It has this. It has the goofy characters. It has the, collection of weirdness and tics and idiots doing crime. But the effect of watching it, it's not. It's just not.
I haven't seen that in so long, but I always just thought of it. That's a New York is Crazy movie.
Yeah.
And so I almost like slotted my mind closer to Scorsese.
It's very much
Coen
closer.
Brothers.
It's yeah.
It's got After Hours DNA in it.
It absolutely does. And that would have been a more interesting place to have put it, honestly. It's a good movie, but it didn't hold much weight here. Let's see. I watched A Fish Called Wanda, which I mentioned to you.
Oh, yeah.
And that, again, is, it's sort of a mean-spirited crime comedy about idiots doing a heist. And
It's true.
And seducing one another. And also a very funny movie, very good movie. And I think you can make a direct line between that and Lady Killers because of the Britishness of it. But that's what it is, ultimately. It and Lady Killers were both inspired by Ealing crime movies.
Exactly.
So there's not actually a lot of Coens in there, despite having a lot of the signifiers.
I think that almost fits better than some of the stuff that I watched One False Move for the first time, which is a very grimy crime movie that I think actually Fish Called Wanda is more like the Coen Brothers style. It's closer to a movie the Coen Brothers would have made themselves, I think, than One False Move is.
Really? I thought One False Move was pretty Coen-y when I saw it.
But that's because it's sort of what you're saying. It's closer to the other vein of Coen Brothers crime comedies, which is, Lady Killers qualifies as that.
Right.
Raising Arizona or whatever, those are less well thought of. And the darker, more serious-minded Coen crime movies cast such a large shadow over the more numerous goofy caper, like total nonsense movies. But I think A Fish Called Wanda actually, in a way, has more Coen DNA in it. If you expand Coen DNA outside of Fargo and No Country for Old Men, which cast the biggest shadows.
The Kevin Kline performance is straight out of a Coen Brothers film for sure. It's the kind of broad but specific. I mean, he won an Oscar deservedly for a plainly comic performance, and that's very rare to do.
It is.
It is the sort of thing you would be proud to put in a Coen Brothers film. He's stupid in all the right ways and effective, and well, he's not really scary. You're kind of rooting for him. That's an interesting thing. Like the movie basically concocts this gruesome death to end the movie for him, and then has to walk it back immediately because he's kind of too beloved as a character at that point for it to stick at all. And I don't know. I think the Coens would probably have just killed him. But even still, you can't argue with that character coming back. He's just too good. And, all the other characters kind of exist in that, too. The thing with the dogs getting continually killed, I don't know if you remember the movie that well, but, there's a running gag where Michael Palin is, he's an animal lover tasked with killing an old lady who was a witness to the crime, and every time he tries to kill her, he ends up killing one of her little dogs instead, and it's just an ongoing thing. It's very, very silly. I mean, I don't know. That's as much, Python, though, as it is Coens. So that's why I put this in the kind of the camp where I was like, well, I was interested and led in this direction, but ultimately I don't know that it was that instructive.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's start then with one that I think is the most direct. So, A Simple Plan, right, is the most complete and direct companion piece to Fargo that there is. If you ask people to cite, I mean, you'd have to ask the right letterboxed crowd to cite a Coen Brothers ripoff. That's probably where most people will land first, right?
I suppose so. I think so. Yeah, probably. I mean, as a contemporary of Fargo, I think it's probably the best companion piece. It would be a good double feature. And I think that it's not a funny movie per se, but it has this sort of weight of sort of cosmic fate behind the actions of all the characters.
Well, and it's Sam Raimi who has a connection to it. The wintry setting and the level of mayhem that eventually ensues is all feels very similar to what they were doing in Fargo.
It is a grim as hell film. It's almost doing No Country for Old Men as well. It's so bleak. It's one of the bleakest fucking things ever.
It's hard for me to compare No Country. Just No Country for Old Men has like the Terminator aspect of Chigurh that's like more driving than the sort of haphazardness. It's more just like forces of entropy and internal stuff that's driving most of it. There is an outside villain that comes to shoot them, but not till the end.
He doesn't really function as a Chigurh figure. It's much more about the hand of fate and consequence, I suppose.
I guess that's one way it feels like less of a Coen Brothers movie is the nemesis factor is not as strong.
I found the nemesis thing to be really difficult to track as well. I was looking for a good nemesis movie. Closest I came was The Fugitive, and I was like, oh, this doesn't work.
No, I got one to throw at you later on, but it's also clearly not inspired by the Coen Brothers because it's too early. But
that's another problem. Yeah, I mean, film noir stuff basically, has a foot in Coens as well, or rather, Coens have a foot in film noir. So, A Simple Plan, though, since we're on this, I do think this is a masterpiece. I had a ball watching this, kind of just really on edge by the end. Just goosebumps. Tensed up shoulders. Just a really effective film. It might be the best directed film Sam Raimi's made, which is kind of crazy considering the incredible genre classics he's responsible for. But just as a piece of filmmaking, I'm honestly not sure if there's anything he's made that quite gets me as emotionally involved as this.
Okay. I mean, I'll quibble with a couple of things there. Like,
I'm a big fan of the movie.
Like, it's going to get me no originality points to say Evil Dead 2 is one of the best directed movies ever. Like, that is... I
mean, right. Yeah, that's
where the direction is lifting up and past its budgetary constraints and everything else.
It's a pretty amazing film. I would have to put that at number one for Raimi. Yeah, but,
as a pure director's showcase. I also think Spider-Man...
As a narrative, though.
Really, yeah.
Right.
No, okay. But Simple Plan, I would put it one tick below Masterpiece, and that might just be because I can only put it in such direct comparison with Fargo that I'm like, this is a slightly not as good version of Fargo is my inescapable conclusion. And so I guess I mark it down just ever so slightly because of that.
I think the performances are kind of the thing that make it its own for me. Is that Bill Paxton and especially Billy Bob Thornton are kind of like absolutely genius in it. They're really, really good.
Were you struck by looking at the options available to us how likely Billy Bob Thornton was to be involved in any of your Coen knockoff candidates?
He was in 3 that I watched. Absolutely, yeah. And he's wonderful in them. He's perfect. He should have been.
He's
more
great in all of them.
Yeah. An excellent actor and really well suited to this sort of movie, as it turns out. Yeah. I mean, I think I knew that going in, but man, he's good, and he's doing different kind of stuff in each one of them. And of course, he's in a few Coen movies. He stars in the first season of Fargo. I mean, he belongs in here, as does Paxton, really, who is in a bunch of these too. But yeah, like in A Simple Plan, I really do think that's one of the best performances, like, of all time. Maybe he's so fucking good in it. next level stuff. He elevates the film dramatically, I think, with the stuff he's doing in there.
Totally, and particularly because if you dig into A Simple Plan, he like contributed some writing and ad-libbing on the set, like things like really helped design that character. I guess it changed it from what it was on the page to what it is on screen, and had like, was a collaborator in a big way on making that character, which is a standout element of the film, what it is.
Feels like it. I mean, as a writer, it's very much his, he wrote One False Move as well, as it turns out. True. Yeah, he's underrated now, I think, even as an Oscar winner. I think people forget, he's just a great writer. I guess because he doesn't do it anymore. He seems to have checked out of a lot of those kind of things.
I guess so.
He's just going to do Taylor Sheridan shows and collect easy paychecks for a while at this point. It's a shame. As as an auteur or creative force, he was really, really one of the greatest ones of the aughts, probably. This did strike me. He was really on a heater that I did not appreciate at the time in the late 90s and early aughts. Because he was never, up for a Marvel movie or anything. He was never. Well, he absolutely would have been if his career was like 10 years later, though. You think? Oh yeah, he would. He's in stuff like Armageddon. He would have been in a Marvel movie. Why not?
Oh, true, but not as.
He would have been a villain in something.
He wouldn't have been Black Panther.
No, he wouldn't have been Black Panther. But he might have been
actually.
Andy Serkis role. He could.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he would have been a one-off bad guy. He would have been the Andy Serkis guy or something like that.
Oh, he would have been a great Marvel villain. That's true. Mm-hmm. What I meant was he wasn't one of the best runs in there, but he wasn't like competing with Tom Cruise for.
Well, no, he's playing grubby little assholes in One False Move and stuff like that. Exactly. That's what his superpower was, It would have made him a great fit for the Coens, and I think he's awesome in that film he made with them. But it wasn't maybe the project for you. But I'm talking about the man who wasn't there. But obviously, he fits really well with this weird little subgenre that we're talking about today.
Yeah. Well, One False Move, that's another one that he was heavily involved on the creative side, I understand. And man, what a grimy performance that is.
He's a scary little fucker in that, man. Yeah. That's another thing. You kind of forget because he has a persona. Now, before that, he could play, absolute sociopaths and be terrifying.
Well, and I think I knew that, but it was, for me, so much of it was overshadowed by his Fargo season 1 figure, which is a, Luciferian, larger than life type of evil. And the One False Move guy it's too grody to be the banality of evil, but it is so resisting making this evil grandiose. It is just
he's a small man. Yeah
small and dirty and gross, and that's a grimy movie. That movie made me feel gross. I did not particularly enjoy it, even though that's clearly a pretty good crime movie.
That one's really, really something. That one is it feels like that one, unlike a lot of these, does not follow a transcribed kind of plot that structure that a lot of this sort of film would have, where, it's sort of goofy characters come up with a plan, things get out of hand, and then they go off. That one has a very different structure, a lot of different ideas going on in it. There's like a surprising amount of race conversation going on. The Bill Paxton character in that, his relationship with him changes like 4 or 5 times during the course of the film. I think it's one of his best performances, actually.
He's very good in it. I think you're right, though, that honestly, the race stuff is what makes it feel very distinct from the Coens.
No, it's Carl Franklin.
They don't really.
His thing.
Yeah, exactly. But the Coens don't really dabble in that outside of very broad caricatures in their broadest comedies.
No, you don't want them to do it, honestly.
No. There is so much No Country for Old Men in One False Move, actually. And that you got sort of small town sheriff dealing with crimes and a level of violence and evil that is kind of out of his depth. And also, not in the exact same way, but the way the third act kind of zags from the expected showdown you're going to get. So kind of comes, but not at all in the way you would expect for the first hour of that movie. It's also like No Country for Old Men is so aggressively bleak that if you also threw like any race elements into it, I feel like it would become like completely undigestible very quickly.
Right. I mean, look, One False Move is not a chill out movie. You know, even A Simple Plan is probably a little more fun, just scene to scene.
Yes,
but it is a.
It's not fun exactly, but there is a little bit an element of zaniness to A Simple Plan.
I mean, there's the shotgun that like blows people through walls and shit like that. You know, there's
that's just one shot where something. Oh yes, this is definitely a Sam Raimi movie and not a Coen movie. But
right,
I don't know, just the spiraling aspect of it and how quickly, like, you know, to quote Ron Burgundy, you know, things really escalated quickly there.
Yeah, that's such a good scene. The One False Move thing, though, it's so different also because the structure is you have basically two plot lines going on, which is the bad guys and the cops, and the cops are set in one location, and the bad guys spend the entire movie heading towards that location, which forestalls the chance of any real scenes of them interacting until the third act of the movie. That's a very tough structure to make work, I think, and it changes the dynamic and the flow of the film a lot, and so it doesn't necessarily feel like it. On the other hand, you know, it's doing No Country stuff. It's doing sort of a small town Americana. I don't know. There's a portion of the film where Bill Paxton feels like a Marge Gunderson stand-in a little bit, and the ways that the movie will like cut directly from some of the worst depravity of the bad guys straight to his sort of idyllic home life is very, very Fargo as well.
Yeah. But it's an idyllic home life that he is kind of unsatisfied with, and he's kind of eager to take on the bigger evil in a way that is diametrically opposed to Tommy Lee Jones in No Country. And like I said, that just the way the villains play out, that even with Fargo, that Fargo straddles the line between villains that represent a larger, more primordial evil versus the level of violence that Billy Bob and the other guy bring with them is one thing, but it's just sort of like big city crime, not necessarily otherworldly evil. And and I think honestly, maybe the race stuff is what makes that feel more grounded in the real world rather than something more biblical.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that is a component that is not present in One False Move. The sort of the grander scheme of things. I don't know. It feels more present in Simple Plan, even that there is a sort of an unseen hand guiding things along. In One False Move, it's just humans, it's just choices, and
right,
and it's sort of an inevitable resolution as it turns out based on what's going down. I think that's a really special film, honestly, but you're right. It's a bit of a rough one, and maybe not the roughest film we watched for this, but among them.
I think it was for me. I honestly I think too. This is one where I felt being a parent changed my view on things. I think that the opening crime of One False Move
rough
hit me way harder than it probably would have a few years back when I was.
They don't kill the kid.
Childless. They don't kill the kid, but just like that. So yeah, that there's some of the plot of One False Move goes around there. It's sort of a home invasion thing where Billy Bob kills some people, and his girlfriend does not lets their child go, but the child sort of witnessed his parents being brutally attacked and murdered, and now just having small kids, it's so much harder to not put myself directly in that kid's shoes and be like, holy shit, this is
not an easy sit.
This is nightmare stuff. Whereas if I had seen it when I was 20 years old, it
wouldn't even registered.
It wouldn't have registered to me, because like, oh, well, I've seen gorier stuff, and that's what.
Right.
But anyway, so I don't know. I think that was the roughest one for me. What was the roughest one for you?
I think Shallow Grave.
Okay, I did not rewatch Shallow Grave. It's been a few years. I recall that one having a little more like Simple Plan, kind of an element of
It's fun, but
almost fun the way things spiral.
Yeah, it definitely has that, but it's such a. I mean, fuck these people. You know, like they're so loathsome.
Well, yeah, but because of that, there's not like an innocent there that I'm distressed for.
Mm-hmm. There's cutting up bodies and stuff. There's a spiral to it as well. I mean, this is a pretty direct, blood simple. Here's a premise. Here's a case full of money. Here's a corpse. A lot of the aspects that we would look into it in a film like this. It does. It's just a grim time, though. They solve their problems in the worst, most destructive ways. You don't like anyone. You kind of want them all to die. And you are. That mostly happens, but you're still kind of just like, wasn't enough, really.
I think that's interesting to me. Just, sorry, we don't need to talk about. This doesn't be all personal all the time here, but something about how the modern, our modern day, and my family situation has led me to become both softer and more misanthropic at the same time. I'm okay with all those assholes bringing it on themselves and mutilating each other over it. But I feel my heart bleeds a little more for the kids these days.
Yeah.
Which those Shallow Grave people, they're like, I mean, it feels like they're 12 years old at this point, seeing Ewan McGregor that young. And
they're very young. They're in their early 20s at oldest. Mm-hmm. Killer Joe was another one that was probably darker.
Oh, I didn't even consider that one. Yeah.
Well, it's not a great fit, to be perfectly honest. But it's very dark, and
yeah, that's one of the toughest sits I've ever encountered. Haven't gone back since the theater.
It's a good one. I was thinking that Matthew McConaughey plays kind of a malefic figure in that, and that he might be my a nemesis type thing, but he's not actually. He's actually a really specific guy with a specific thing that he wants and way that he's creepy and bad. It's a great performance, and he does seem to be, several leagues ahead of everyone else in the film. And so maybe there's some Chigurh there, I suppose, but it's doing a different thing. It's much more of a Sam Shepard play than a Coen Brothers thing. Good movie.
Yeah, and he manipulates. It's more manipulation, and he has earthly desires.
He sure does.
As opposed to Chigurh being, or the Bone Back of the Apocalypse being those sort of almost biblical figures and more brute force.
Yeah, he is not that at all. So it's not it doesn't really fit with what we're talking about, despite being sort of a blue collar hillbilly stupid people committing crimes movie. So I mean there's common language there, but
Killer Joe the character feels like a companion more to Lorne Malvo, the Billy Bob character from the Fargo series, in those like the manipulative ways, than
definitely
a Coen villain proper.
But Malvo, or the Thulis version in what was it? Visser? No, Visser is Blood Simple.
That's Blood Simple.
Varga.
Yeah. DM Varga. Yes.
Those guys do sort of have a connection to the ineffable, though. All of them, especially
they
Malvo,
do.
really.
But what I mean is that the nemesis in the Coen films proper are more brute force, rather maybe just a simple effect of they only have to operate over 90 to 120 minutes and not over 10 or 12 episodes.
Sure.
So they don't have to get as elaborate with their machinations. They tend to drive more directly at the thing. That's what makes them a nemesis in my mind.
Yeah. That's a big part of it. But I do think that the nemesis also requires, it doesn't require clearly, but is most notable and most interesting to me when it has that sort of uncanniness.
Yes. Well, you mistakenly cited Lorne Visser. He's probably the most manipulative of the proper villains, and takes on that for the finale of Blood Simple. That's what's interesting about it to me is he starts out as an actual human doing human plotting, and then through the machinations of that plot takes on the element of being this undead revenant at least in the heroine's mind. That's what he is. And
yeah, that's true. I would say that now that it's come up, that is probably the character that Killer Joe most resembles in the filmography.
Definitely.
Certainly more than Chigurh or anything like that. I mean, look, it's not too dissimilar. If you like Coens and watch something mean, then yeah, Killer Joe is a good option.
It is. It's even meaner than any Coen Brothers movie I can think of. It is that's a tough set. I
Very
I
good
will say
movie.
that's one that I will cite as a good movie that I recommend to no one.
Right. It's that's a hard one to be like, you know what, you ought to check out.
Yeah. It seems like it's this kind of night for you. It's never the night to get a bucket of KFC and sit down and Killer
fuck.
Joe.
Yeah. Part of the reconnaissance, though.
It
Kind
is
of forgotten now because I think it's such a hard sit. But,
exactly.
But he's great in it.
Yeah, I think that it certainly helped put him on casting directors' radars again, for the reconnaissance. Okay. So of these, I mean, I think Simple Plan and Shallow Grave, I think, are both great movies.
Mm-hmm.
The others, One False Move and Killer Joe, good movies that I have a harder time recommending just for being
various,
so.
yeah.
That's it. Because but that's something about the Coen Brothers movies is even at their bleakest, I think they tend to be pretty good sits.
I would agree. Yeah, there's a watchability to every single one of them. I mean, the one I have the most trouble with is probably Inside Llewyn Davis, where no crimes are committed for the most part.
Right. That's the one that's the least. Or that or Barton Fink for me is.
Yeah, it's
is
similar.
a little bit rougher.
I think in both cases, it's because the guy's such an asshole.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just, but not because they are as grimy as those other movies we're citing are, or that a really bleak nihilistic crime movie. It's not. For as much as No Country is known for being the bleakest, most nihilistic crime movie ever made, I find that incredibly watchable. And it's the ones that don't have those crime elements that I find to be a bit harder to take just because of those protagonists are so difficult. I mean, I guess I could lump Man Who Wasn't There in there a bit too. But Tommy Lee Jones and I guess Josh Brolin are just so much. I do enjoy spending time with them in those modes.
Yeah. That movie's oddly funny too, which is a thing that is often forgotten.
It's underrated.
Yeah. Is that maybe a segue to the worst film I watched for this? Maybe.
I don't know what the worst movie you watched is.
I watched a film called Welcome to Collinwood.
This, I got really fed up. I mean, this is dumb, but I got really fed up renting these movies because I like going through the 10 different streaming services that I have apps with, and not one of them had One False Move available for free, and not one of them had Shallow Grave, and not one of them had a Simple Plan. And by Welcome to Collinwood, I said, no, I'm not giving Anasan another $4 for this project. So
well chosen. A terrible film. A terrible film.
Oh,
very
picked the right one to skip.
You did. Explicitly a Coen Brothers attempt. I was kind of going to pass on it too, but it stars Sam Rockwell and William H. Macy and George Clooney in a sort of a small role. And that's who it was sold on, as idiots doing crimes together. You've also got Luis Guzman and Patricia Clarkson and Michael Jeter. He's actually really good in it. But a lot of character actors doing funny kind of character stuff. I was going to say, fuck it. Nah.
Is it actually funny or is it comic?
It's comic. It's not funny at all.
That's the rub.
Yeah, it's that sort of thing. It's a lot of just. I mean, this reminded me of the shitty Tarantino movies we watched a lot, actually. Although it was plainly doing Coen Brothers' version of that. The thing that I was going to pass on this too, but then I saw who directed it, which I didn't realize. It is, I think, the first feature film of Joe and Anthony Russo.
Oh, really?
Yes. It's a film they made, which I didn't even know until I started looking into it, and I was like, okay, well, let's see it. I mean, they handle an ensemble, right? They know what they're doing. And
absolutely.
This is one of the bad ones, I'm afraid. This is annoying. The kind of frustrating, stupid people doing crimes movie that you would expect from a studio. And there's no edge to it. There's no, I guess there's a few grim deaths, just sort of habitually thrown in there. But for the most part, it's, it's shenanigans, lady killers-esque. It doesn't even have the polish of that, though. Sam Rockwell's in a lot of shitty movies, it turns out.
Yeah. Yes.
Despite being so good and talented, man, he's got a bad resume in a lot of ways.
I think he tends to shine even. I've never seen him in a shitty movie where I thought he was bad or he was like part of the problem, really. Even
Well, he didn't help
like,
in this.
Maybe I was like, he's kind of miscast in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but also like that's definitely not the problem. That's not the thing holding that one back.
Yeah. He is bad in this, I would say. It's
Oh, wow.
a legitimately bad Sam Rockwell, and just sort of an annoying Sam Rockwell, you know?
Well, we talked about it for the Fincher one of these, him and Choke, where
Similar.
that's a very bad movie. I'm not sure if he was bad in it. It's just that the role as written is kind of impossible.
Well, he's doing his thing here. He's kind of dancing around and being charming and stuff. He has very thin gruel to work with. That might be a big
Is he a
part of
villain?
it. No, he's the protagonist. He's the
Really? Okay.
the hero of the story. Yeah. He's the crook that we like. And if there a bad guy in it, I guess Luis Guzman kind of. Whatever. Bad, dumb movie. I don't even remember it that well to talk about it. I've forgotten most of it in a week at this point.
Luis Guzman's actually interesting there to me too, just as somebody else that I guess, now that I think about it.
Should have been in a Coen Brothers movie.
Yeah, but also just somebody who's been in a ton of bad movies, but I never come away from them thinking bad of him necessarily. Like,
That's true.
I not that he's like great. Like, Sam Rockwell's been better than Luis Guzman at his best from what I've seen, but somehow I know him Guzman primarily from bad movies, and yet the stink of them doesn't seem to attach for me.
Well, he's also done like Magnolia and Traffic, and there are great Guzman projects out there that exist. You know, he's a character actor. You know, he can be in those sort of things, and he's a plus up in every case.
Yeah, he's been in Soderberghs and stuff. Like, well, so let's compare Colin Wood to another movie I watched for the first time, which is Pain and Gain.
Ah, okay, a much better film.
Much better. Okay, so better than that. Because do either of these movies for you highlight something like what is missing from the Coen formula when you're doing it over in this other?
Well, that's what I found so fascinating about Pain and Gain, is that I think this actually argues in favor of Michael Bay in a lot of ways, because I mean, as a craftsman, he's able to basically do a Coen Brothers movie here. Like, it just has every aesthetic choice is pushed through a Michael Bay machine. So instead of, like the snowy Midwest, this is, South Beach in Florida. And
I could almost argue for that as directorial choices that fit the setting and the garishness of the South Beach and these guys, especially what these idiot characters are the lifestyle are trying to affect.
These are specifically Michael Bay versions of Coen Brother characters, though. Yeah. Like they're crueler and stupider and bigger and dumber and just sort of louder.
Yes.
And they match his aesthetic, but they are functionally versions of Coen Brother characters. I think that's neat. I think this is one of his most interesting movies, Michael Bay.
I'll give you interesting for sure. I think what it highlights for me is sort of, that the charge that the Coens are always trying to beat from their critics is misanthropy and hating their characters and all. And Pain and Gain to me stands as this object of, oh no, this is what a Coen Brothers movie that actually has total contempt for all its characters looks like.
Yes, that's true.
It has true bone deep contempt for humanity.
That's correct. But I feel that's part and parcel with, that's part of his aesthetic. You can't watch Bad Boys 2, which, is not a film that is like textually misanthropic. But
that's what it's the hair I parse between. Bad Boys 2 to me is a more nihilistic film than No Country for Old Men, because No Country is a movie that's about nihilism, and Bad Boys 2 is a movie that is nihilistic.
Exactly. And that is a distinction, I think, that is really brought into sharp contrast when you watch Pain and Gain, which like it has this sort of I think it presents as satire, but what it really is amoral. Like, it's just sort of an evil film that doesn't care about people and kind of thinks that, watching them suffer is funny. Like the contempt it has for the Tony Shalhoub character.
Yeah, the victim.
The victim, a real person, by the way. Have you read the article in Rolling Stone that this is based on, by any chance?
I
mean,
did
I
not,
doubt you would have, but yeah.
No, but I did like listen
Horrifying.
to a podcast that kind of recapped some of it,
Yeah.
and I mean, it sounds like that guy maybe wasn't the best guy in the world, either, but also justifiably sued them for portraying him this way because. Even if he didn't go to jail, kind of, paid his due for his crimes through all, the torture and the kidnapping and having to spend years clawing back his possessions from his torturers and kidnappers.
Yeah, the actual story this is based on is really upsettingly dark, and I mean it's a very ugly crime story, and it's bizarre to make this a comedy. It really is. I mean. And it's sort of fun in the I'm taking all the wrong messages from the Coens kind of way, because, again, I think he makes a really good movie here. I think what he's put together, I mean, despite being sort of demonstrably evil, is well made and well paced and kind of compelling in its way. I find a lot of his movies to be quite bad and unwatchable. Not this one. This one it had me in its clutches pretty much the whole way through.
I find it a little hard to watch in the most literal sense, in that the color palette of it hurts my eyes slightly.
I mean, I understand. Yeah. I mean, it helps that I'm not watching robots transform into just sort of CGI blobs of metal. Not being
true.
There helps a lot, but otherwise it looks like a Transformers movie.
That's true. I mean, if I'm picking Michael Bay movies, I will choose to watch Will Smith and Martin Lawrence fuck around. For my, I don't know what that's not even the vegetables or the entree, whatever it is that for the peanut butter to swallow the pill. I mean, this has a very good performance from The Rock and one of the better performances from Mark Wahlberg. Overall, I'm just left with the ugliness and the nihilism of it. It's also one that I feel like a movie with a cold open that really does it no favors. That
yeah, I'd agree with that.
Opening with the arrest, Mark Wahlberg's arrest, and then doing a flashback to 12 months earlier or whatever, and we're all leading up to that. This story would be so much more interesting, and I would be so much more stunned at how long they were getting away with this, and are they just going to get away with this? Is that what this level of satire is going somehow? If the movie hadn't told me, assured me up front that this is leading to their arrest.
Could that just be part of the Coen thing, though? That's his version of sort of the inevitability of fate. We're gonna literally see the end of the movie at the beginning.
Could it be that? No, not Michael Bay.
Okay.
I don't think so. I mean, could, yes. Is it? No. Would be my honest response.
Right. All right. I would say it's one of the more direct Coen brother things that we saw for this, by the way. There's no
he's
mistaking.
very conscious.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's spoken about it or just been obvious that he tries to cast everybody who's worked with the Coen brothers for his movies too.
Oh, he's talked about it. Yeah, he loves them.
He has some admiration for them.
Absolutely. They're his favorite directors, he says.
That's interesting.
It is. It's really weird.
It's so interesting because it suggests that he is watching the Coen brothers movies and seeing the version of them that people who don't love the Coen brothers the way I do, that people who don't like the Coen brothers are seeing, but liking them for it.
I mean, I'm curious. I don't know. I don't think he's a dumb guy. I think he probably is aware of these things, and doesn't necessarily put them in his films. I mean, I have to imagine. I mean,
not even his Coen brother film where he was consciously doing a Coen. I mean,
well, it is full of as much Coen brothers stuff as any of these, though. It's just
oh, absolutely.
It's just pushed through a Michael Bay filter. Real chunky one, which is all his shit on top of it, and I mean, I can't believe he's a dummy, is the truth. He's made too mmany films, well, I don't know.
I think parsing whether Michael Bay is smart requires getting very granular on what your definition of intelligence is and how what are we talking about? Is there a version of intelligence that's savviness but not
right,
and is,
I mean, he's a balls first guy, obviously.
Yes. Can you be completely unself-aware but still intelligent? Is that a thing? Like, I guess that's sort of like Sherlock Holmes in a lot of depictions. Is that concept?
Yeah, I've always thought Michael Bay had real Sherlock Holmes energy. Certainly.
Well, I think I'm part of that because I think for me, I rate self-awareness as a huge part of intelligence, and he does. It's ambiguous to me how self-aware he is.
I think probably pretty self-aware is my guess. I think he understands what he is. I believe anyway, more than like a Zack Snyder, I would think.
Maybe, yeah. But for any of those guys, like even if they're not self-aware by nature, they now like must have read enough of like scholarship about themselves and their own work that they have to be aware of the criticisms and all that. Like,
well, of course. I mean, you don't make a fifth Transformers film if you're listening to them, though.
right?
You're
And he, I mean, is there something intelligent about making the decision to just, well, yeah, maybe my critics have me out there, but I'm still just going to play to my strengths rather than try and satisfy the haters by playing to my weaknesses.
I mean, it just kind of reveals his priorities, I suppose. And I find that disappointing. I think there is Transformers might actually be, well, no, Pearl Harbor probably is sort of the one that determines which direction he heads in. I guess that's the one that he kind of realizes that conventional kind of critical appeal is probably beyond him forever.
Well, it's the failure of Pearl Harbor, which means he will never recover from the success of Transformers.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the 1-2 punch, perhaps.
Yeah.
But I think that there was an interesting director there that could have been.
Yeah.
And maybe going in the opposite direction size-wise is what he should have done, More stuff like Pain and Gain, honestly. A way to find out who he was as a creator. I would have been interested in that version instead of I think he's making a 6 Transformers film now version that we got.
I don't know. We might have found out who he is as a creator, actually, though.
Yeah,
you
right.
You may have hit on the correct answer.
I know.
Well,
all his best movies are at the beginning of his career.
Yeah. I'll go with that. Mm-hmm. But the question of how do we define intelligence is something that comes up in the Coen brothers movies a lot. Is
true.
Tom Hanks' character in A Lady Killers intelligent, or is he the biggest dummy of them all? I mean, he's not a bigger dummy than Ryan Hurst's character, I guess, who's
sure, but
a Neanderthal almost literally. But that goes for any number of schemers in their movie. Is Jerry Lundegaard dumber than Wade, who walked right in, who could push Jerry around, but still walked right into his own death in what I would classify as a very stupid fashion.
Yeah, that's true. That's actually a great point. I mean, you could kind of have the intelligence conversation for every character in Fargo, and it would be interesting.
Yeah.
Even Marge.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. Does dumb guys lead us anywhere? Is there a thing there?
Okay, so there's 2 other ones that I had, or one other that I watched for the first time was Red Rock West, which is very much a Blood Simple style riff, Western noir, Southwestern noir, I'd say, yeah.
I've seen it. I didn't get around to it for this one, but it was on my short list. I just kind of watched too many other stuff. It's great, right? That's my memory.
It's sort of, I say it's good, not great. It's kind of like Simple Plan and Fargo. It's like I would just recommend somebody watch Blood Simple as a slightly better version of this. In my book,
right? It's John Dahl, right, of Rounders and Last Seduction fame. He's a good filmmaker who sadly kind of pivoted to TV at some point, I think. But
but
he had a nice run there.
He pivoted when TV got more interesting, and he was not such like a profound visual stylist that if Michael Bay started making CSI Miami's, we might have lost something on the big screen. Even you could do Rounders as a cable TV series, and
they would now, yeah,
not lose anything in terms of cinematography. I would say.
Actually, that's
but Red Rock West looks pretty good,
right? Southwest is such a good place to film a noir. It's such an evocative visual palette when you want to tell stories of this nature. Blood Simple being an obvious example of that. But yeah, Red Rock West playing in the same kind of. I mean, you can feel the look of the film just from the title, honestly.
Yeah, and it's the Southwest. You're putting sort of Dennis Hopper and J.T. Walsh in the Dan Hedaya and why am I blanking on Lauren Visser's real name? Emmett Walsh, the other Walsh, yeah,
the other Walsh.
But it's sort of similar in that it's basically like 4 characters, 2 of them villainous that are kind of working cahoots and kind of working against each other, and one of them being one of those villains' wives, and then the other guy, our noir hero. It's a very similar setup in a similar environment.
It's Laura Flynn Boyle, is that right?
Yes, I believe so.
She's a proper femme fatale, though, if I recall.
Yes.
I mean, that's the thing. This has like double indemnity and every other kind of, every sort of like, you need to kill my husband kind of narrative.
And it's got twistiness to it. I ultimately prefer what Blood Simple's doing, which is concocting the plot such that the noir hero mistakes Frances McDormand for a femme fatale.
Right.
Which leads to the sort of finale where she was then mistaking the villain for. I mean, that's what makes it the Coens right out of the gate. Is that so much of it is on the people misunderstanding their own situation, and that leads to, even when they act proactively, making their situation worse.
Southwest. Let's see. U-Turn would be another one. I didn't watch it for this, but that is a similar. That's an Oliver Stone version of a Coen Brothers movie about, hey, I need you to kill my husband. That's Sean Penn, Jennifer Lopez, and Nick Nolte in those roles. Billy Bob's in there too, I believe.
That was one that I didn't watch for the Tarantino knockoff one because I thought it was more of a Tarantino riff. But I guess that's what we're getting here. There's more overlap here than you would think, given that the Coens and Tarantino are not actually like. I guess the late 90s, like Jackie Brown and Fargo, is as close as those ships ever came in the night to passing each other. And otherwise, they do very different things.
I guess so. I mean, Tarantino always cites Raising Arizona as one of the big ones for him, one of the most influential films. And I think you can tell from the photography feels like an inspiration for him. I mean, most interesting photography feels like a Tarantino inspiration in some fashion or another. But
also, just Raising Arizona's vibe is so PG that it's hard. Like Tarantino's never made a non-R-rated movie and never will.
Right.
That the vibes feel very different. Even that, yes, I can see that. Of course, he would like that movie.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know what else we got here. Anything we're holding on to?
The only one I wanted to mention is The Ice Harvest.
Well, yes. Okay. There's that.
Another Billy Bob Thornton joint. This one directed by Harold Ramis. I believe it's based on a book. It is a neo-noir. I guess it's also it's Fargo-ish in that it's snowbound.
Yeah.
One of the few films based in my hometown.
Oh, fun.
So I guess I probably first watched it because of that. It was a novelty. But it's a very good little crime movie. Decent John Cusack, very good Billy Bob Thornton, and sort of transcendent Oliver Platt performances.
Oh, right. I was a little over these by the time I got to Ice Harvest. I watched a lot of small town crook noir things going on, and this one I feel is one of the less defined than some of the rest.
That's true. In a way, it's one of the least inspired. Yeah, but also fits the Coen vibe better than almost any of them, except for maybe A Simple Plan to me.
Well, that's the thing.
When it goes into the goofiness,
it's very plainly Ramis doing Coens, which is interesting. Yeah. He's an interesting director. I don't think this is one of his more interesting films, but it's clearly doing a thing, and successfully, I would say, but not much. I can't recommend Ice Harvest exactly.
I like this movie, and again, especially the stretch where they get into sort of that he goes into the house and Billy Bob's got somebody locked in a trunk. And how
Billy Bob is scary in it, again, in a different way than he is in these other films.
All that stuff feels very like it could be in a Coen movie. Like this, honestly, this one feels like a movie the Coens could have made to me.
They could have. I think it would be a better movie if they had.
Probably. Yeah. It would probably be a touch goofier. Maybe, the one thing, it also has a proper femme fatale in it, which, now, as I'm thinking on it, not really something the Coens go for.
I don't think ever. They don't really do sex very much, which is a big
Well,
part
when they
of the
do,
femme
it's
fatale.
in a goofy way.
Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, Ethan, of course, now
Yes.
loves sex comedy stuff, of course, but
Yeah. I mean, Bird After Reading, people are fucking all over the place, but it's not.
they're horny, but it's not a sexy movie, really.
No, not at all.
And I think you need that for the femme fatale. Like, what is the biggest femme fatale in the Coen?
Like, Maud Lebowski is not really a femme fatale. Like,
No.
she kind of slots into that
I guess.
space in the plot, but not. She's not that.
Is there one? Is there, like, anybody that you could qualify as a femme fatale in 18 Coen Brother films? Lady
Well,
Macbeth.
I mean, again, like, yes, Lady Macbeth. There you go. That's actually a good answer. I mean, and just like the mistake of it all in Blood Simple, like, means that there sort of
Right,
is
I
a femme
guess
fatale figure in there, even though it's not.
The closest we get, yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
They also just don't really have a lot of female characters.
I suppose that's it.
It's not a perspective that they comes to the front a lot in the Coen Brothers films.
No, not to the front. Outside of Fargo, which
Right.
is, like I said, they're the one that made their biggest impact. But again, that's okay. So more Billy Bob, which is a common factor for these knockoffs.
More Randy Quaid.
There's some pretty gnarly deaths in there too.
Yes.
They do not walk back.
It's something that I noted during this was the characters don't feel particularly stupid.
No.
They make mistakes, but Stupid Crooks is not quite how that movie plays out, even though it has like the structure and the form of a Stupid Crook movie.
And they're not super smart either. They're small time. This is you get a pretty good sense of this is the biggest they could go with the crimes they're committing.
Right.
And it's not that big. I don't know. I feel like maybe, I feel like you're, I'm going to cape up for Harold Ramis's Ghost. I feel like you're coming for him here a bit, put it on him. I think that the movie has one problem. I think John Cusack gives a pretty good performance, but there's probably a better casting for that role.
I'd go with that. Yeah.
He's got to be, this is kind of a sad sack, tired, beaten down guy. And that,
Who can do that?
Paxton,
honestly. Paxton would have been okay.
I don't think. Oh yeah, Paxton would have been great in that actually. I don't think we're ever going to do an episode about what's the Ethan Hawke, Richard Linklater movie that's out right now? Blue
Moon.
But that's another one where I'm like, man, Ethan Hawke gives an incredible performance in that, and yet it is all he has to do such an uphill climb to play a guy who has trouble getting laid. Because that's never been Ethan Hawke's experience in his life, obviously.
Sure. Okay, so it's like the James Woods and Ghosts of Mississippi thing, where he spends, 95% of the movie in old age makeup, and it's just like, why don't you just cast an old man?
For Ice Harvest, like John Cusack is playing tired and sad sack fairly well, but also like you don't need to set the treadmill at an incline necessarily. You could just cast somebody who can do this as their regular setting. That would be my thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he plus ups the film particularly, I would say.
Right.
In the way that Billy Bob does. I mean, just a
or
good guy to have in these kind of movies. Let's see. I had a list of movies I didn't get to that I think qualify, but and I kind of wish I had now just for some variety in this. Just like I was wondering if The Death of Stalin could be considered a Coen Brothers style film.
I mean, I would say no, only because I think Iannucci has his own style by the time Death of Stalin comes out. That's very defined in my mind.
That's fair
really
enough.
Cleanly into.
I don't know, but that one just stuck in my head for some reason. I was like, does this one count? I didn't end up going with it because I couldn't actually articulate a reason why, but it had something.
It would make a good double feature with Burn After Reading.
Yes. Maybe it's that I was thinking.
But Burn After Reading is not the totemic Coen Brothers movie. That's the trouble that we keep going back to.
Inherent Vice, I considered, the closest thing to a Big Lebowski, aside from The Long Goodbye, which of course is the inspiration for Big Lebowski and therefore invalid.
Yes.
But I gave that a thought and decided, I don't want to watch Inherent Vice again.
And it gets muddled up too because it's based on a book that clearly was not inspired by Big Lebowski because it came out before.
Did it?
Did it come out after? I just assumed maybe Thomas Pynchon's one of those people that might be actually like 20 years younger than I think of him as. I just assume that he's been around
still
since
alive,
the 60s.
right?
But yeah, maybe. Okay, maybe.
I don't know.
I assumed that was a like One Battle After Another is based off a book he wrote in like 1990.
Right.
I just assumed Inherent Vice was written in 1881.
No, it's a much newer book than that, but I don't know quite how it plays out. It doesn't really matter. I didn't watch it, so I can't comment on this specifically for this now. But that's sort of, slant-wise version of the PI story,
Okay.
that I was thinking of there, but ultimately I couldn't, I just didn't want to watch the movie again. Okay, so I think that I've run out of my list here, but you got one, right?
Well, these are not necessarily one perhaps inspired by, but as I was thinking of thematic twins, going off the beaten path, which basically in this case means, are there movies that feel more indebted to a serious man than they do to Fargo? And
I struggled with this myself. I was looking too. I was trying to figure out stuff that kind of touched that part of their filmography and their voice, and I came up fairly empty.
Well, I've got 3 entries in the sort of hapless protagonist undergoes the trial of Job type of thing.
Okay.
One of which I think could actually bear some influence from them, which is Uncut Gems. That is sort of a thriller version of Jewish guy, nothing goes right for him the entire movie, and is kind of ultimately destroyed. But
the distinction there, though, is that he is absolutely the author of everything. Like he is the architect of all his misfortune.
Yeah. Okay. That one, but it is, if you were trying to make a serious man to a thriller,
sure,
it would look something kind of like that, is what I guess.
I guess I could see
that. You're trying. It's Uncut Gems is my midpoint between a serious man and No Country, perhaps.
It's a hell of a film.
Fine.
That's for certain.
How about, can I interest you in a Spider-Man 2?
Very much, sir. Yes, very much.
So this is directed by Sam Raimi, who has a Coen brother connection, obviously. They've worked together. They were friends. They lived together back in the day, all that. It's also a co-author credit on this from Michael Chabon. I don't know.
Chabon, I think.
Chabon, who's also a Jewish writer.
Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay.
Yeah. Did he never work with the Coen brothers? I guess I thought he might have, but maybe just because he worked with Sam Raimi on this. And I connect Raimi to the Coens.
There was a period where they were going to adapt his I forget the name of the book, but it's the
Yiddish Policeman's Union. That's
exactly. Which would have been awesome.
That would be a great Coen brothers joint too. That could still potentially happen.
Yeah, I'd love it.
I mean, not that it's in works or anything, but all those people are still alive.
I'd be curious about their Cavalier and Clay, actually. Maybe they'd be the guys to do that.
Yeah, they might be. But as far as Spider-Man goes, Peter Parker, canonically, not Jewish, but canonically, the ultimate schlemazel. The guy who has the soup spilled on him at the party. And Spider-Man 2, I think, is the best rendering I've seen of what makes that character so appealing in that way to me, which is nothing goes right for him in that whole movie until the very, very end. But every time he bends down to tie his shoe, somebody's going to whack him in the head with a book bag. Anytime he reaches for a canapé at the party, they're going to take the tray right out under him. And that, I feel like he and Larry Gopnik could commiserate.
I like that very much. Yeah. Yes. That's really cool. And I mean, that's maybe the most interesting, best aspect of Peter Parker is the old Parker luck that, that everything goes wrong. And why I think that the casting of Tobey Maguire is still so good and so right, and still the best Spider-Man we've ever had as an actor. I mean, I've never shied off that, despite the others being really good. He just has this ineffable kind of hangdog. He's never the cool guy kind of energy to him. Which I don't know if that has anything to do with the real Tobey Maguire. It doesn't sound like it. Sound like he's a bit of a monster, but
it kind of is. I think the real Tobey Maguire is upset that he can't, no matter the level of success he gets, he can't quite be the cool guy that he wants to be. Leonardo DiCaprio, but just doesn't have the look to pull it off, I guess, or the demeanor or whatever.
I mean, that's very much his persona, and very effective, and it's why he's a great Spider-Man.
It adds something to to the put uponness of his Peter Parker. I agree. Even if I prefer Tom Holland's take overall, probably. But Spider-Man 2 is the best Spider-Man movie, and it's a good double feature movie with a serious man, I think.
It would be a fun double
as an
feature.
offbeat one.
I think you'd have to do Serious Man first. But then, then I think that would inform Spider-Man 2 and not bum you out as Serious Man would following that. That'd be a good one.
Yeah, you get to end on a high note, I think.
Exactly. Go get him, Tiger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Larry Gopnik can get nothing. He is no Tiger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, I got one last one for you that I watched here that I think makes a good pairing with any Coen Brothers movie. Maybe probably Raising Arizona is the best as an offbeat spiritual cousin, which is Savage Steve Holland's Better Off Dead.
I've never seen this film.
You've never seen this? Okay.
This is Downey Jr., right?
No, it's John Cusack.
John Cusack. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And it's a extremely
zero.
Yeah, but that's a whole different kettle of fish.
I've confused them in my head. I don't know him. Yeah.
You ever see One Crazy Summer?
I've seen One Crazy Summer.
Okay. Better Off Dead is the exact same thing with skiing instead of boat racing.
Oh, that sounds fun. Okay.
Same filmmaker, John Cusack obviously starring in it. His girlfriend breaks up with him at the beginning of it, and he's a high school senior, and he becomes suicidal and has to get his mojo back by winning the big ski race against the captain of the high school ski team. It's like a Naked Gun almost style spoof.
Jesus, why haven't I seen this? This sounds great.
The one thing about I can't believe you haven't seen this is I should have made you watch this. It's got like surrealistic fantasies and dream sequences that are very that remind me of the log jam and stuff from Big Lebowski. And the thing that I think most people remember from this is he is haunted by a nemesis figure, which is a paper boy that is chasing him around the entire movie, demanding his $2. You owe me $2. And he haunts his whole family, really. Like the introduction of the paper boy is almost similar to the Lone Biker of the Apocalypse, where he's haunting Cusack's dad's dream.
Or maybe the Dybbuk, perhaps.
Yes. It's a full-blown. So this culminates in a big ski race down the Widowmaker Mountain or whatever, and which John Cusack has to do on one ski because he's being chased by the paper boy, who also goes down the ski slope on his bike or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then after he wins, he takes the foreign exchange student he's been romancing to make out with her on home plate at Dodger Stadium, because they had a thing about her wanting to visit Dodger Stadium earlier. And the actual movie ends with the paper boy biking across the outfield, screaming about his $2 at them. So it's a full-blown nemesis in a full-blown like lady killers, intolerable cruelty, like Hudsucker Proxy world.
Well, fuck, I do wish I'd seen that. That sounds great, honestly. If I'd just known One Crazy Summer, I probably would have seen it by now. But I don't know. I assumed that was more of a Say Anything type Cusack film, and just never quite got around to it. Okay,
it is Cusack doing high school stuff.
Well, I'm gonna.
I thought Better Off Dead was more well known than One Crazy Summer, so I just assumed you would have seen that one and not the other. But
it's just how things work out. It is better known for sure, but. I don't know. Comedy Central's playing One Crazy Summer quite a bit at some point in my life, and that's how that happened. So
yeah, I saw One Crazy Summer on HBO as a kid, and then I just picked up from film people that Better Off Dead was the one that had gotten sort of reclaimed by the Letterboxd crowd over the last 10 or 12 years.
I got a lot of blank spots on my for the 80s teen comedies. There's a bunch of those I haven't seen. I'm missing a vocabulary there. When it comes to like John Hughes and shit, I should probably take that on sometime. Maybe that'll be something for me in 2026, because I'm definitely going to watch Better Off Dead.
As a Coen brother pairing, it really fits. The Trials of Job stuff, like he tries to everybody keeps asking him if it's I heard Diane broke up with you. I was thinking of asking her out, and that includes like his math teacher, played by Vincent Schiavelli, the mean ghost in Ghost.
Okay.
And
I mean,
And
that
his
is kind of
mail
one crazy
carrier,
summary.
played by the guy who plays Milo in Last Boy Scout.
Oh,
can you,
geez. Taylor
his-
Negron? Okay.
Taylor Negron, yes. And he tries to rebound by asking out this popular girl who's dating the basketball team. Not a member of the basketball team, but the entire starting lineup of the basketball team. It's
Okay.
like, again, he and Larry Gopnik would have things to talk about.
All right. Well, I'm going to actually make a point of watching that then in the near future. Sounds like a lot of fun. Maybe I'll investigate this year and
I
we
believe
can do
it's
an
on Tubi.
episode on it. Cool. Tubi. All right. Well, there we go. A new project. Well, it's not one. It's just a movie. I can do that. Okay. So, hey, we did all the directors we covered. We did every single one of them at this point. We've, again, this was a tough one. The Coens. I'm finding that these guys are really hard to replicate. You know, I think people have been more successful trying to do Michael Mann than this.
Yeah. I mean, that's partly, I think we went over that Michael Mann episode, but just anybody trying to do crime stuff with a level of seriousness invites the Michael Mann comparison.
Right.
Whereas the Coens version of crime stuff is pretty well known, but also it's a more crowded field. You dip over into Tarantino ripoffs pretty easily.
But it's a tough target to hit. I mean, like the ones that were explicitly doing Coens here, you know, were ones that were kind of irritating to us in some cases here.
Well, A Simple Plan was not, but
No, that's true. Mm-hmm. That one's good.
you could say it's really hard to replicate that Barton Fink feeling.
It is. I think that, you know, it's easy to do the sort of the particulars, you know, the dumb folks doing crimes thing. That's easy. A lot of people do that. You don't even need to be doing Coen Brothers to do that. When it comes to the next level of what they're up to, you know, the sort of metaphysical Schrodinger's cat kind of like philosophical ideas about existence, that's a tough one. That's a really, really tricky thing that cannot be duplicated, and certainly not in as a digestible and accessible fashion as the Coens do it sort of effortlessly.
Yeah, I mean, you know, varying degrees of success for how they land with audiences, but
Well, No Country for Old Men is like the best version of that. And
yes, obviously.
and they've done it many other times too, really.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't know,
know,
is
Serious Man
Inside
is
Llewyn
not-
Davis effortless or successful enough? I don't know. It's you're right that they can elevate the thing when they succeed in a way that even other really, really good filmmakers struggle to do with their genre stuff.
It feels effortless in Fargo. There's no movie that we talked about that has that kind of sort of a metaphysical layer kind of as subtext in the way that Fargo does. It's just that's a hard one to hit, man. So like,
Yeah, even Raimi struggles, I think, with that. I think because
that's the one trying most, I would say, is A Simple Plan. And yeah, it's not as good as Fargo does it. That's true.
or even as there's something like Drag Me to Hell was a genre movie in a genre the Coens don't really play in.
I wish.
That does sort of have those kind of biblical metaphysical stuff layered over it somehow, but
Well, it just
he's
comes
just such a
across as
louder
Tales from the
filmmaker
Crypt
that it's
kind of
hard.
thing.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it's just that's all that feels like in the end. And it's a good
It's
movie,
harder
but
for subtext to land in a Raimi context because the text is so loud.
That's true. He's not a big subtext guy.
No, you could say similar things about Tarantino, I suppose.
Yeah, that's fair
The
enough.
presentation is so much louder that we did a whole series trying to parse like, is there subtext here? Or is it just that movies are cool and he likes them?
It's mostly the latter, if I recall. I mean,
I think
he did
we
that
kind of
one,
landed on it's mostly that.
Yeah, he did a couple that are really something, but mostly. Okay, well, you know, we may do Raimi one of these days. That's always been on the short list, so we might be talking more about his stuff in the near future or far future. I don't know. I don't know. Are we going to keep doing these with? To tell you right now, there's a lot of people that have Terry Gilliam inspired movies out there.
I think we've kind of committed ourselves to doing one for Gilliam at this point too. Although at the top of my head, I'm not sure. I think of Gilliam influence is more like in confined to a single sequence than an entire movie, but I'll have to noodle on a bit.
Bong Joon-ho, I think, is real Gilliam-y. Real Gilliam.
Okay,
Yeah.
Good start. Good start.
Yorgos is a bit. There's Some other guys?
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we're doing
the
that
next
one.
one.
All
That's
right.
the next one. Okay, cool.
Coming to you in 2028.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for listening. Leave a review or a rating on the podcast app or provider of your choice. Helps the visibility of the show, as I am saying now. Okay. And next time, I don't know what we're doing next time. I don't even know when this one's released. But thank you for listening all the same.
Tom, I was just speculating about a hypothesis. I know I don't know nothing.
Uncertainty. That is appropriate for matters of this world.